nervous members. And you've been through this before. You've been through this before, so there's no need to be nervous. My makeup artist did a fine job on me, didn't they? And I nearly call a name I can't call because I'm live now. I hope my director is monitoring the YouTube live so that I can do a sound check over there and ensure everybody's hearing me. This is me doing my sound check on YouTube live. Right, is everyone hearing me live in YouTube, on YouTube? That's a yes from you, director. Just clear it and put on the yes again so I can ensure that that is what you're saying.
It's not a yes from me, but I have people on the live saying that it is fine on their side.
And they're hearing me clearly. Very good. How many persons do we have there, and am I ready to go?
I think a handful so far.
Okay.
See, maybe a handful so far.
Just giving social media land the time to come on. Want to be out of here by 8 p.m. tonight.
We might extend, you know.
We have 7 people in virtual studios with us and waiting on you to join us live. Where's my music? ensure you send the YouTube link into the sixth form guidance and sixth form Yorkist group, as well as the general council group. The YouTube link, the link to the live. All right. I'm hearing that the music is too loud. Maybe you want to turn it down a bit. Maybe you want to turn down the music a bit and pin me to technical support name. You're not in the mother. Awesome. All right. Is the music good now? I think so. I hope I'm being heard now. Can I get a confirmation that my audio is working on YouTube?
It's a bit delayed, but it's working.
But it's working. Yeah, it's going to be delayed in YouTube. It's going to be live here and more delayed over there. Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. And welcome to the B broadcast, brought to you by the B Broadcasting Commission, sponsored by the Students' Council of Yorkastle High School. The election season is my favorite time of the year because it is the only time I get the opportunity to say welcome to part one, but two-part series of the presidential debates. This evening we will be having the social debates. That is what we will use to kick off our debate series. And we have the two front runners for the office of the president, Mr. Lennon R. Richards and Mr. Dontae P. Minto. What a thing, what a thing, what a thing. We have quite a night ahead of us, divided into different sections. When we return, we will hear the opening remarks. After that, we will go straight into our questions and answer. Then we will go into the section where the candidates can question one another. That ought to be hot. And then we will close the evening with our closing remarks. We have a lot of questions coming from a lot of people here. Questions from the B, questions from social media, which is generally the student populace at large, questions from the academic staff, questions from the ancillary staff, questions from the administrative staff. We took your questions and we're bringing them to the candidates this evening. It ought to be a debate. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Tell a friend to come. I'm your host, Bobby Frank. Welcome back. Welcome back to part one in a two-part series of the presidential debates. We do not own the rights to the instrumental used earlier. All credits go to TVJ All Angles. Want to ensure my audio is being heard on YouTube. All is well over there, I hope. Awesome. This evening we kick off a race against time, a race against creativity, a race against expression. One campaign is unique, the other one is traditional. One promises success, the other promises innovation. Well, that is what we call the presidential debates. Keep your castle great is the slogan Mr. Dontae P. Minto has found pride campaigning on, and valuably competent Yorkists is the new advocacy. That one is a tongue twister. What a thing. Good evening, candidates. Good evening, Lennon. Let me start with Lennon. Good evening, Lennon. How you do?
Hello, everyone. How are you? I'm
Good. We're all right over here. Good evening, Dontae. How you do?
Greetings, I'm fine.
Awesome. 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 Well, earlier this evening, we had a coin toss, an independent coin toss. Everyone saw Lennon chose head for some reason, and Dontae chose tails for another reason. And tails was selected, and that will determine who will give their first 2 minutes opening remarks. Only 2 minutes on the clock. Mr. Technical Support, at 2 minutes, you turn off whoever is speaking. We will go with Dontae Minto first, since he had tails. Mr. Minto, your opening remarks.
Well, greetings, your castle. For those who know me, I'm Dontae Minto, and I'm vying for the position of president. And I would love your support. Why should you vote for me? Vote for me because in these times, these unprecedented times, we are treading some rocky roads. And who do you need better to steer the ship? An experienced leader, or not a so experienced leader? So vote Dontae on the day and make the right choice. Thank you.
Thank you much, Mr. Minto. Lennon Richards, your opening remarks.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here, and it's a pleasure to be here in the midst of the debate. Right? Students should vote on Richards because even though my opposition has the same ideas like me to lead, I am the only candidate with a manifesto that fixes issues on student skill development, financial education, and financial growth from a new club that will be created by the Lennon Richards administration, where the club would be called Trillionaires Mindset, right? I also will use the resources and knowledge to enhance the school system to collect payments by using the blockchain technology. I also have the skills required to advocate and defend students because I have a mind that can bend a person's reality, right? And I want students to know that under my administration, my council works for a student. My council's interest is the student's interest, right? And the student's interest will be at the forefront of the council's operation, right? Students should see that valuable, competent Yorkist is the new advocacy, not keeping Yorkist great and underdeveloped.
Well, there you have it, opening remarks from the candidates. They sound like politicians, don't they? For those who are just joining us, you're here in part one of a two-part debate series for the presidential candidates. This evening, we will be having the social debates. The social debates is different from the leadership debates. The social debates will look into social issues at your Casa High School. And so you might not hear much about manifesto, you might not hear much about leadership and academics and council administration, student governance, but you'll hear more about social issues at YC. We have questions this evening coming from the media. questions coming from social media, the general student populace at large, questions coming from the academic staff, the administrative staff, and the ancillary staff, because if you haven't picked up by now, you know, the presidential debates, the students' council election is a very serious one at York Castle High School. Indeed. So we go into our first section, our second segment, which is the question and answer segment. In this segment, every candidate will receive a question. They will get 90 seconds to respond, and the opposing candidate will get 45 seconds to rebut. The candidate doesn't want to rebut, the candidate will say no rebuttal. After that, we'll give them a little water break, and then we'll come on to the heat of the debate, the part where they question one another. I promise to go easy. Let's see. Mr. Minto, keep your castle great. You know, I just admire how controversial Donald Trump has inspired so many slogans, so many slogans. Is this slogan, Mr. Minto, indicative that you are a Trump supporter, that we should brace for Yorkist supremacist type of leadership? What type of skills do you possess, Mr. Minto, that will achieve, well, I guess maintain greatness at York Castle High School? 3 questions in one. Go ahead.
Right. So the first question, is this a Trump-inspired slogan? I would say no, because I really and genuinely believe that the past 2 or maybe even 3 administrations have managed to put your castle on a pedestal throughout the nation, and I appreciate that. So that is why I'd love to keep your castle great. Many other schools look up to us, and we have to keep that going. We can't drop the ball. Can't drop the ball. What was your second question, please? Sorry.
Is this indicative of a Yorkist supremacist type of leadership? Donald Trump has been criticized in the past for having a strictly white supremacist type of leadership. United States of America, only let's build a wall and keep everybody out. Is this a Yorkist type of supremacist leadership you plan to inspire? And the next question is, what type of skills do you have that will maintain greatness at your castle?
Well, absolutely not. It's not. The council, I understand, is for everybody, and I will advocate for everybody. So I won't build a wall, whether it be physical or a mental wall or whatever. I'm a leader that believes in unity, and I will enforce that. And as it relates to the skills that I possess, I believe that I am very empathetic as a leader. I listen a lot, and I understand what others are, the views of others, which is important being the council president, because we have to listen to everybody. We can't block out anybody at all, And other skills that I possess, I would say I'm a very flexible person. I manage time well. I have strategic thinking skills. I have critical thinking skills, among others. If I try to name them all, we won't finish tonight. But among others, so those are the skills that I possess, and those are the skills that I wish to bring to the office of the president.
We hear you, Mr. Richards. Any rebuttal to that question?
Of course, of course. Well, when you mentioned about his skills, it is going to take more skills to be able to lead and make decisive decisions in a council, right? Being able to negotiate is one definite skill needed. And I see that as a lacking part on Dontae's side, where with his skills, it will not fully complete the runnings of a council, because under his administration, his council would be lacking a particular segment, which is negotiating for students.
I hear you, Mr. Richards, and I hit you with your question. Valuably competent Yorkists is the new advocacy. That's a slogan we don't hear every day. So is that the name of a book? I like it. Is this indicative that you are throwing away the age-old advocacy regime and replacing it with what you think will make Yorkists valuably competent, or are you saying that Yorkists, as we are now, we are not valuably competent? What's your position?
Okay, well, I would say that we are on a way to be able to be competent. We just need that push start to be able to go ahead, and my administration sees the fact that students, they need to be developed more, especially like how there's a pandemic, right? And in the pandemic, that causes mental issues like if there is a brighter future. And that can cause students to be able to think on a narrow scale. And I want to broaden that, right? I want to help students to develop more, to be able to do more. And so under my administration, we are able to do that. We are able to develop students.
Thank you for that. Any rebuttal, Mr. Minto?
No rebuttal, Mr. Francis.
Very good. Your next question, Mr. Minto. Mr. Minto, you've been in representational politics for almost 3 years. You brag about it, but we've always heard the saying, be very careful. Try not to step into a big man's shoes. What is to stop you from stepping into Mr. President Mark Johnson's shadow, or his shoes and not shoes of your own?
Well, I believe that I'm unique. My plans are unique. Mr. Johnson did a wonderful job. I must commend him. Hats off to him. But I believe that under my leadership, we will go forward. We have some things that we need to improve on, being that I was a part of the last administration. So there are some things that I will do that, Mr. Johnson didn't do. Like my agenda will be actually geared towards developing students, Mr. Lennon. So I plan to do that through the use of clubs, extracurricular activities. I plan to develop them and, directly reach out to students, which will develop them. Because if it wasn't for clubs, Mr. Lennon, clubs and, those extracurricular activities, you or I we probably wouldn't be here today. So I understand the importance of that and I want to play on that. So I will be doing that differently from Mr. Johnson. I don't blame him for not doing it, but I just saw a need that I believe should be filled.
We're hearing you. Any rebuttal on that, Mr. Richards?
Well, I totally agree with Dontae on that one, to develop students,
So is it that you're agreeing that he's not going to step into Mark's shoes, or what is it? What are you agreeing with?
Well, I don't believe he will step into Mark's shoes.
Okay. Your question, Mr. Richards. One of the major issues affecting York Castle High School students is school spirit. So much so that the planning and execution of Spirit Week in 2020 took almost 2 years to actualize. What is your plan, Mr. Richards, for school spirit?
Well, to just continue with the traditional way of doing school spirit, while tweaking it a little bit more to make it more fun for students, but continuing traditionally where I myself have seen the experience of it and I enjoyed it, to be honest. I enjoyed the school spirit. Thank you so much for that. And to be seeing that, I think we should continue on a path of doing it the traditional way, but we can also tweak it a little bit to make students more, to make students enjoy it more.
So you don't have any ideas? Because I think the traditional way hasn't been working. Students are still struggling. Look at Sports Day. It is so hard to build up the vibes for Sports Day. We'll have competition going on at school and students prefer to sit somewhere waiting on their bus rather than coming down and supporting the team. You don't have any ideas of a new way we can help to build spirit, or keep it the traditional way?
Well, all right. So to make improvements, okay, the improvements I'm talking about is that we can add more events where entertainers, more persons who have influences, right, who can transfer that type of motivation, that type of energy needed towards students, I can implement that towards adding to the school spirit that we have, So those are just some improvements that we can make.
Fair enough, I hear you. That same question goes to you, Mr. Minto.
Any plans? If I have any plans to improve school spirit?
School spirit, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think you made a statement there that I kind of disagree with. I think your castle comes alive at times when it is necessary. When when the right planning takes place and all of that, your castle with the right elements, your castle comes alive. Because look at these elections. I've seen your castle alive. Your castle is alive. So I may
But
have
you
to
don't think
disagree.
that is just the problem, though, Mr. Minto? The fact that the students need to be boosted, they need a certain condition in order to come alive. It's not natural. Whereas when you go to Jamaica College and other schools, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are, they're alive and bubbling.
Oh, I think we can do more in working on school pride, so things like letting the students understand that York Castle is not one of the best schools in Jamaica, but is the best school in Jamaica, and we must defend that wholeheartedly. So we have to do more, maybe working with administration and as the council. I have a plan to improve the council's public relations by having agents of public relations, so persons who actually work with the council to spread messages that we send. And when we enforce, when we put that in the students' mind that York Castle is the best high school in Jamaica, students will defend that with their life. And I think that will build school spirit. That will build school spirit.
I think your time has elapsed. Mr. Minto, but you went right into your next question, public relations. What is your comment on Students' Council public relations this year? It is in the midst of a pandemic. Do you think it was good? You think it was bad? What do you think could be improved on it? And on Richards, I'm going to shoot you with that very same question. Go ahead, Mr.
Right.
Minto.
I think we because of strong leadership, I think the council did a fair job in public relations. But I think there were areas in which we could improve. Because I always commend Mr. Johnson because he does such a good job. He can't stay within the walls of the council. Persons know, persons see it. So that is some sort of maintaining good public relations. But I think when it comes on to persons waving the banner for the council, we could do better in that area.
Mr. Richards.
Well, I have a plan how we can improve on the public relations of the school through the technology, because I am an expert in social media marketing where I have where I use different resources to be able to reach more persons, and that is a way how the school will be able to be put out more to persons in the community and be able to be heard. But while also not using my social media marketing expertise, right? I can also put more persons in place to be able to represent the school more.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Minto, your question. Every year we hear of some clubs being more, I hear you talking about extracurricular, being more well supported than others. What is your plan to balance the playing field? If any plans at all to do so, are you going to commit to the student populace that rugby would get the appropriate proportional support like football, or that table tennis versus basketball?
Well, I believe that you get where you work for, but I believe that we should be somewhat, but we should balance it up because we never know what can happen. We should always give our students fair chance, a fair chance and if that means allocating resources properly and fairly, that has to be done. And I will indeed I've never been in that situation where I have seen that they were being treated unfairly. But if I'm ever in this situation and I believe that something more should be done, I will definitely advocate for it. I will advocate for it with my life.
I hear you say you get what you work for. Are you saying the clubs that are currently underprivileged in proportions maybe aren't working hard enough? Is that what you're saying?
It is very possible, I believe, because some clubs are inactive. If a club is inactive, you can't put resources there.
We're
But
talking
if you
about
know
the active ones like rugby and table tennis. Do you think they
But if
get
they're
the
active and realize that they reap rewards, of course they should be treated fairly.
so
You know,
you
you should
commit
get
to
your fair share.
lobbying for that balance?
Yes, I will make an effort. I will make an effort, a great effort to strike that balance there.
Mr. Richards, your rebuttal.
Well, there's no rebuttal because that's a great plan for Dontae.
For Dontae, but not for you. I hear you.
Well, we would have basically been doing the same thing, you know, so
Okay,
there's no rebuttal.
very good. COVID-19, this is your question, Mr. Richards, has dispersed us into the cyber world. What is your anti-bullying action plan? When I say bullying, I'm talking about cyberbullying, but also when we return to the physical school. What's your anti-bullying action plan? Go ahead.
Well, firstly, we would have to well as a well, to be honest, I'm able to do psychology where I can understand persons more, right? And by doing that, by understanding persons more, I can come up with best solutions to resolve disputes, right? And the actions that I can take towards that is to make sure students stand up more for themselves, and by putting in more influencers to motivate students to get that energy, you know, that will build up students more to be able to stand up to bullies and tell the bullies no. So by doing all of this, students will be able to be against bullying and defend themselves more.
So you're going to become one of our guidance counselors.
Well, nothing is wrong with helping students because I have helped students I've helped over a period of students, you know, whether at school or in different schools.
What about cyberbullying though? How would you zoom into cyberbullying in particular?
Cyberbullying.
Yeah.
Well, I would just let students. I would go around the school with a campaign and let students be aware about cyberbullying, right? And I was already in a group where we made posters to distribute to persons to be aware about cyberbullying and the do's and don'ts of the internet. So I think I am already helping on that job.
Are you committing to do better, to actually do a cyberbullying and anti-bullying campaign should you become president?
Of course, because I would have had the experience from the past job that I would have done with a group about cyberbullying, you know.
That's a
I
York
definitely
group?
can come up with a plan. Yes, it is indeed.
Okay, awesome.
It was the internet
Min-
safety group.
okay, awesome. Mr. Minto, your rebuttal.
Right, you know, an anti-bullying campaign is very good, Lennon, commendations, but I would go a step further and ensure that the council maintains a zero tolerance for cyber bullies. So when we find persons that are actually bullies, we can't really help them. We stand with the students and you should be punished for that. But I like the plan of having an anti-bullying campaign. I would do that also as a president, because the truth is that we can't. It's hard to control what persons do. So we have to run a campaign, as what Lennon said, do's and don'ts of internet. But when persons actually do it, we can't help. We can't. The council can't help. I know we say we advocate for all, but we have to advocate for. You know, we have to do it fair. Can't help persons who cyberbully. That is wrong, and that is a very disgusting act.
Indeed.
Cross rebuttal for that, Mr. Richards?
None at all.
Very good. Seems like we have a debate on our hands. Mr. Minto, your question. The first time you became the household name of six formers was with your original Yorkist statement. No, if I was to liken you to probably a geometry set, I would say you're more of a divider than anything else. Now you come with a ticket, a presidential ticket. Is your plan, Mr. Minto, to divide the school in a Biden-Trump way? What is the rationale here? What is your end game? Talk to us.
With the ticket, the end game is the ticket. It is. I think you're just looking at it from the wrong perspective. I think it is unity. I think as a leader, you have to be able to unite persons, and I have managed to pick out who I believe are the best in each race, in those races, and we formed a team. We spoke and we say, yeah, I like your plan. Let us. Why not? Because I would want you to be a part of my executive. So we do that and we team up. It's no division. I'm just showing the students unity. I'm showing the students unity and what a united front looks like.
Unity in Amelia, but no unity in Tia and Sean. You don't believe in them. You don't have any confidence in those candidates.
I don't say I don't have any confidence in them. I just have more confidence in Amelia Taylor and the others that I selected.
Your rebuttal, Mr. Richards.
No rebuttal.
I hear you, Mr. Richards. Over to you. With a replacement of advocacy with financial intelligence, what's the fate of the advocacy rate? Right now, the Yorkasa High School is among the top in Jamaica, where the advocacy rate is concerned. With the council shifting focus from advocacy to financial intelligence, once again, what is the fate of the advocacy rate?
Well, I'm advocating for students, right? But to build financial intelligence is a must. The reason being is because what does school teach us about money? What does school teach us about money? And therefore, with me trying to help students to learn about money, right? That would be able to put students on a different level to where they are now able to develop themselves more. But meanwhile, advocating as well, representing students, right, and defending students, I would have the skills required to do that. So, and some of the skills for me are negotiating to be able to get good deals, right? And why not use these to represent students to get good student resolution, right? And why not also use my selling skills to persuade other top executives to hear the students' needs and wants, so we can come to a decision to come to a compatible way of doing stuff for students.
I hear you. I hope my timekeeper is working with me. Mr. Minto, your rebuttal.
My rebuttal, could you repeat the question, please? Something happened and it's
A replacement of advocacy with financial intelligence. What's the fate of the advocacy rate?
okay. I believe that advocacy is more important. I believe that the council was made. The council was built on advocacy. It is a very reason for existence. So we can't replace that for financial intelligence any day. Of course, we can include it in the school because it develops students, as Lennon says, but not at the council level, I believe, not at the council level. And I have a nice financial director with nice financial plans that will, handle finances well.
Are you trying to imply that that is a distraction? That Mr. Richards' focus is more of that of a financial director than the president?
Yeah, I think so. I think his plans are one of a financial director. People actually call me and say, is he running for president or is he running for FINDIREC? And I had to say, I believe president, which it turns out to be, but he has more plans for that of a financial director.
How do you cross rebut that, Mr. Richards?
Well, I disagree with Dontae because as a president's main aim is to ensure students are well developed. Students' needs and their wants are satisfied because if there's a need for financial intelligence, why not present it to the school as the president, right? And so the focus of the president is to help students, but also operate the council effectively, So I disagree with Dontae with my plans as being a financial director.
And I disagree with you, Mr. Richards, because I believe that students should be developed, but as a council, we have to ensure that all persons are developed. So there are actually students in Lennon that are against financial literacy, believe it or not, So we have what if a student doesn't believe in that, but your agenda as the president is geared towards that? What about the person who has other, other needs? Your plan cannot be geared towards that. That is why when Dontae Minto says, my agenda will be geared to clubs. It is for everybody. It is for everybody. And Mr. Lennon Richards, I'm telling you here.
Dontae, listen to this. I'm also presenting clubs, and it will be the choice of that person to join the club or not. So my agenda is put into place to not force anything on anyone. It is the student's choice to be able
That is
to
why
join.
you should start a club. I don't think presidency is the best. You're in the wrong research.
A person with high value belongs in high positions. So I perceive myself as having high value, and being on another level, would just be different to me, and I won't be able to execute properly. I won't have that energy to do it, because
not with Dontae Minto as president, because when I'm president, my agenda will be geared towards club, including yours. I'm going to ensure that it is my agenda that I sign off on your club, Mr. Richards. So I will give you the strength. I will give you the strength and give you the position to handle your thing. I just don't think it's for president. We can't leave out persons.
Let's have Mr. Richards respond, and we'll wrap up that rebuttal. Go ahead, Mr. Richards.
Well, I understand what Dontae is trying to say, but I just want Dontae to understand a president is a person who develops and leads students, not a person who just leads and advocates. Okay? So that's what I'm trying to present.
Yeah, man, a president that is also in a club. You develop your club members.
All right, there we go. We have a debate in our hands, ladies and gentlemen, and it leads us into our next question. Now, you see, I am here one night navigating social media, and much to my surprise, I receive a meme. A chairman's assistant, Artia Johnson, inboxes me and say, "What look at this?" When I look at the meme, it says, "YC presidential race." We have two people on the meme. We have Barack Obama and we have Skilly Bang. My question to you, Mr. Minto, is who are you? And which is your opponent, obviously? Why you said that?
Well, I am Dontae Minto and my opponent is Lennon Richards. That meme is a gross representation of who the two candidates are, But I'm not sure. We have to leave that to the students to decide. I am Dontae Minto though, just in case you didn't.
Can you take responsibility for that meme?
Absolutely not. No, I don't. I can't take responsibility for that.
What about you, Lennon? Who are you and who's your opponent? Why?
Well, I would just say I want to be myself, I don't consider myself to be anyone, right? So I just consider to be myself, which is Lennon Richard.
So nobody wants to claim Barack Obama, because let me not say that. No problem. No problem. Mr. Richards, your question now. What are your plans for incoming sixth form students, especially those coming from other schools? And I'm a fan of Skilly Bang. Trust me, I don't think it is possible to listen to Skilly Bang without that volume being maxed. I don't think they work well together. And I'm also a fan of Barack Obama, So nice to see what's happening. Mr. Richards, what are your plans for incoming sixth form students, especially those coming from other schools?
What are my plans for them? Okay, well, students who come into the school, they need to be welcomed fairly, and they need to have that type of welcoming brought into the school. So, as the future president, God's willing, I can be able to have this type of setup where we welcome students in, make them, tour them around the school, to let them understand what is happening, and, just try to get them comfortable as much into the school, and as the president, I will be around them, hearing what they would want to do or hearing any suggestions they bring forth, so by doing that, I can help the incoming students to have that type of York Castle welcoming, and fit into the school.
Fair enough. Last year, Mr. Minto was dragged for saying originally Yorkists. It's something that will always be hovering over his head rather. Do you think that he is biased against those who aren't coming up from grade 7 at York Castle High School?
Could you repeat the question?
I'm saying last year, Mr. Minto was dragged for his comments on originally Yorkists. Do you think that your opponent, Mr. Minto, is biased against students who were not with us from grade 7 right up into 6th form?
Well, I'm not completely sure, because I have no knowledge on what Dontae did pertaining to that, to be honest. So I cannot indeed answer that correctly.
Fair enough. And are you biased, Mr. Minto?
Absolutely not. And I have.
I think it's about time you say to us what was that? What was that all about? Originally Yorkist. Why would that come out of the mouth of the upper school vice president in an upper school group? What was that all about?
The truth is though, Bobby, I don't remember. It happened such a long time ago, and it is such an irrelevant happening. But I understood that some persons felt discriminated against, and I that wasn't my intent. I can't say that because I have evidence to show that I actually work with students that are from other schools. But I did apologize to those students who felt that way. And it was really a misunderstanding. Poor choice of words from me. I take that blame and I apologize to anyone again. But I have evidence, I have proof. And if I begin to list some of the students that I work with that aren't from grade 7 at York Castle, it would be a lot. So that is really not the case.
I hear you. Our Hindu members have risen from 4, and this is to you, Mr. Minto, from 4 to 6 to almost 10, and maybe even more, with a little under 5 Muslims and a number of Rastafarians. What is the Minto administration's YC diversity action plan? Give it to us.
Well, I will have to have a committee dedicated to things like that. And the truth is that I am really not familiar with some of the practices of a Hindu, but I will work to find them out and ensure that the council even observes, if it's even observing their holiday and speaking to them and asking what more can the council do. Because even Ramadan was the other day, I believe, the council could have said, happy Ramadan or what they say. So I would have an committee mandated to that, and I will ensure that those persons felt included. I'll listen to them and say what more can the council do, or even watch other institutions worldwide that view these things and appreciate them and kind of mirror what they do.
Your rebuttal, Mr. Richards?
Well, I agree with Dontae, to be honest, but I think a better plan as the president would be to make sure that the persons who are diverse into the school head the committee that they're in charge, that they would have been representing, right? So to be more welcoming and to have a knowledge of the norms, right? Students who are diverse into the school would head these and spread awareness about it and be able to not be marginalized because of whatever race they are a part of or religion.
Fair enough. You guys are talking like real presidents. That's good. Mr. Richards, your question. Does the Lennon Richards campaign find merit in the talks of female marginalization? And what are your plans to engage females?
Well, females, they love to do stuff like that they enjoy doing, right? And putting in activities that they would enjoy doing, but find that type of development from it, would be a great plan so that students become more engaged. But these activities, right, once they are done, can be, um, they can be, they can be, from doing these activities, right? They can be rewarded, like merits, some type of recognition for their hard work, because many times females, they are put on a lower standard, and that is not how things should be. Females should have that equal respect and that equal favoring among everyone, right, who is around person. So by allowing females to feel more appreciated, I can help towards letting the females become more engaged.
Fair enough. Any rebuttal, Mr. Minto?
I don't believe that females are marginalized at all at York Castle. I think the case is that we have more males than females. So it will be natural that you see more males. I think it was. So it's every one female we have either 4 or 5 males. But I know that we have less females, and that's because we have two all girls schools in the region. But I believe that females aren't marginalized. I believe look at this current council, there are a lot of women. There are a number of females in the current council, in this administration, and I have just endorsed 3 females. So I believe that there are a lot of females and they work at times harder than the males. Um, just to name them, we have females like Gabrielle Williams, who is a top female from the council. We have financial director Rachel Wright, we have Moisha Morrison, we have people like Nia Simone Newton, we have your assistant, Miss Margaret Johnson. We have females on the council, we have females leading females. And the council actually has a committee for gender affairs and they deal with, and it is headed by a female. So I don't believe females are marginalized.
So because you personally believe females aren't marginalized, although logistically speaking, if you have more males than females, if you said 1 to 5, automatically you're going to have males overpowering the voice, I would presume. But because you don't believe females are marginalized, you have no plans specifically to engage females?
Of course, yeah. Advocacy is my main plan. And if a female is saying that they feel, left out, we have to listen to them and we have to work with them. But I don't think right now if a female comes to me and says that she feels left out, I would be really surprised. I think the opportunities for females, they are equal, and my ticket speaks at all. My ticket speaks at all.
I hear you. Before this debate, and it's your question now, before this debate, a member of the Interschool Christian Fellowship, ISCF, called me and said, Bobby, please ensure the Christian population is represented in this debate. What is the Christian equivalent to icebox for your administration, Mr. Minto? Should it be formed?
Well, I actually think that this administration was a Christian administration, and we observed a lot of, we observed things that included actually ISCF. So we have meetings where we invited them to meetings and we have them pray. We had prayer meetings. We have our chaplain, which preaches for us at times, and we observe their holidays like Easter and Christmas. We had Christmas service, we have Easter service, and we observe Christian events and holidays
but as you mentioned that though, Mr. Minto, when you have parties, there is a pump, there is an energy, there is marketing everywhere you go, it is there, and then you report of basking in success. Do we get that equivalence for the Christians? I don't think so. And the question is, what would your administration do to help them feel more promoted within the school?
Well, I think that is as a result of because we have maybe less persons on campus living the Christian life. I think that is why we see more parties being promoted, are being more being more warm within the entire populace. But I will ensure that my team, because I plan to form a public relations team, I'll ensure that they spread that message. And it's sometimes, the council don't really spread messages that much, it's the students who like the message, spread the message because it is something that favors them. So once it favors Christians, I believe that it is spread enough. So I will ensure that my team is mandated just to share these messages as well, just as any other event, and my administration will count the success of these events just as other events, Christian events as other events.
We hold you to that. I hope my timekeeper is working with me. Your rebuttal, Mr. Richards?
Well, no rebuttal there.
No rebuttal. But I want to ask. Go ahead.
I would have continued on the traditional way as well,
Okay, but there will be something
representing.
Right, but your administration would be plights in promoting Christian values as well, I presume.
Of course.
Absolutely. Next question: what are the different social groups at your castle, and how does your campaign plan to benefit their social context?
The different social groups.
Yeah. So at your castle you will have the those who prefer gaming and a geeky type of engagement. You will have the dancers, those who prefer all of that. How will your campaign plan to benefit those different contexts?
Well, one thing I'm sure about is that students need funds to be able to start and do certain things that they need, right? And developing students in a way where they know how to afford things, right? They can be able to help themselves with their clubs, with their gaming, sporting activities they want to do, right? And different activities that they want to do. So by knowing how to generate a cash flow, right, they will be able to afford certain resources to be able to carry out the activities that they want to do, So my campaign, it would be to develop students to be able to do that.
Any rebuttal, Mr. Minto?
I agree with Lennon, but that is why we have a financial committee that would, deal with that thing, deal with those type of things. But I agree with Lennon for the most part, right there.
But will your administration approach these different social groups any differently than Mr. Richards has presented?
We will listen to all of them and ensure that all of them are properly represented, Mr. Friend.
All right, let's cut right to it. Mr. Minto, when you go up against Lennon Richards, you are not the cool kid in that race. You're not nervous. You don't think Mr. Richards is a giant in popularity land and will, with that accord and his uniqueness in his campaign, rise a good faction against you at the polls?
No, I'm very cool. I think I'm cool and people accept that. I think, it's kind of equal. I don't think he, kind of, if he does surpasses me, it's not by much. Because I remember our days in grade 9 Lennon, when we were the cool kids, and I don't think people forget me as well. So I wouldn't say so at all.
Well, if I was just to speak of looks alone. But anyway, let's go into the next question. Mr. Richards, you, on the other hand, you're rising against a leadership giant. Aren't you nervous? What is your competitive advantage? Talk to me.
Well, my competitive advantage is that, I've not been a leader inside of school, but, I have been a leader outside, right? And with that, I lead broader aspects, to go and achieve goals. We have to develop and have growth, so being able to do that, I'm not nervous because it would just be the same thing as leading students would be the same thing as me leading outside to achieve goals and achieve growth, so I'm just cool.
You're just cool. I love that. All right, let's go to the questions from social media. My first question here is directed to Mr. Minto by a Miss Anonymous. Aside from experience, what sets you apart from your opponent, Mr. Minto?
The fact that I actually have a plan and I actually care for these students and I love them and I will do anything for them and things like that, and my agenda that is geared towards all extracurricular activities, not just one or 1%, the minimum.
Any rebuttal to that, Mr. Richards?
No, because that's what Dontae is supposed to do.
Okay. Lennon, I have a question for you from Mr. Anonymous, and this is quite an interesting one. They ask you, Mr. Richards, if I am in a money problem, can I come to you and borrow money?
Well, it would be depending on the situation what they're going to use the money for, because based on my intelligence, using money to do certain things, right? Because there's bad spending and good investing, right? And so if you're going to do bad spending, I will definitely not give you money. But once it's good investing, then why not? Because I know my money is not going to go to waste or go somewhere where it doesn't belong, which is to go back into the economy and build it up more.
Loving it. Mr. Minto, Dontae fake President Minto was what do you think your opponent was reaching at? And why do you call him loser Lenny?
I'm the only one here with president on my job title anyway, so I can't be a fake president. And with loser Lenny, it wasn't me, it was just a conversation I was having with a supporter. They were asking, it's a funny story. They were asking who you're in against. I know the name, but I don't know the person. I said Lennon Richards, man, and they were like, oh, that person who lost. I think I said that the person he lost in the SFA election, and the person was like, oh, loser Lennon. And I was like, yeah. And they say, you can't lose to loser Lennon. And I said, right, I won't lose to loser Lennon. And it just became a thing. Loser Lennon.
Mr. Richards, loser Lenny, what do you think the Minto camp was reaching at? And why do you call him Dontae fake President Minto?
Well, just by trying to say that, I wasn't sure what his intentions were, but obviously only losers think they lose, A winner for me has the mindset of only learning, not losing. So I'm unsure what that campaign was trying to put out there about me. So shame on that person. But with the fake president now, I was that picture was sent to me and I was like, whoa, this was hilarious, So I'm not sure who made that, to be honest. I'm not sure who made it. So I just thought it was hilarious though.
Fair enough. I have a question coming in from the academic staff directed to both candidates. So we'll do it as we did this morning with the coin toss. Drug use is a medium being used by youth as a form of stress relief during the difficult times. What initiatives would you implement to advocate for more attention to be put on substance abuse? Mr. Minto, you go first, based on the coin toss.
Well, we'll have to run a campaign. We'll have to run a campaign, work with the guidance department, run a campaign and, inform students, give them another avenue as well. Maybe we could, as the council, we could maybe facilitate students to have game night or, something of the sort, or, work with SFA to give them movie night or something of the sort. But we have to try and give them an avenue to reduce stress because we don't want our students doing that.
Mr. Richards?
Well, to reduce stress because of the substance abuse, like my plan towards that is to have ice boxes, where students can go in, hear good music and be able to, enjoy themselves and just be in the time where happiness takes over. And, but not only having ice boxes, we need to counsel students and let them know that substance abuse isn't good, and we should we should try to create a type of campaign to let them find other activities, to be able to do instead of using drug abuse.
Very good one. My questions are actually coming to an end here in this social debates, and my time manager is telling me time is against me. Mr. Minto, rising concerns about using the B to your advantage. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, people are going to talk, and sometimes they talk foolishness because I have temporarily relinquished my role as the main administrator for the B broadcast. So I don't do the publishing. Anything you see from the B broadcast, it doesn't come from me. I will admit that some
Dontae
background,
Minto did not make an immediate post.
but I made a post after
I
the
didn't hear that,
concern.
Mr. Richard.
I said Dontae Minto did not make an immediate post, so that would
I've
have
a-
brought suspicion onto him.
Okay.
Right. So, but I made a post after which has the date on it, and other members from the club also shared screenshots to prove that it isn't Photoshop. That from I said April 13th I indicated my intention to step down as a candidate, and on April 14th, and that is what I did. Another person is in that seat now.
Your rebuttal, Mr. Richards.
Well, my supporters, they were saying that they have no such proof of seeing the post being made, and so therefore that just brings Dontae under suspicion about it. So
Fair enough. Rising concerns about using students as human resource for your 876 Trading Academy. Talk to us about that.
using students as resources to do what? I'm not trying to use students as resources.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need students to be used as resources. 876 Trading Academy sponsored us to be able, sponsor the Lennon administration to be able to teach students the technical analysis needed to analyze financial markets, which is a major thing which needs to be learned, because being able to analyze financial markets, you can depict when another crash is going to come, right? And so therefore that just gives us an advantage to prepare more, which 876 Trading Academy is willing to help students to do, which I don't see a problem as. And therefore the 876 Trading Academy is not trying to use students as resources. They're only trying to develop and help.
But Mr. Lennon, could I rebut Mr.
I was about
Moderator?
to ask. Go ahead.
In a group chat, this is what you said, and a person asked, so you're willing to let your business lose to become president? Is that what you're saying? And your response, Lennon, was, I'm willing to take that risk because there's more opportunities to be captured. That presents to me the idea that you see these students as opportunities. So if you could shed some light on that, Mr. Richards.
Well, when I see other opportunities, I myself have seen in the pandemic where there are other investment opportunities now arising, especially through cryptocurrencies. So I wouldn't say I'm going to lose with my business. I'm just taking a risk in sharing my trade secrets to students. And a trade secret is an intellectual property that allows persons to own an intangible asset like a physical asset, So that just gives my business a competitive advantage. And just giving out a competitive advantage like that, I'm going to be taking a risk. So, so when I do that now, I'm just going to not lose, but just take a risk, right? And I'm willing, as the president, where I'm representing students and helping students, I'm going to take that risk and help students, So.
Oh, so
Fair
but
enough.
I kind of missed some of your response because my internet went. But let us go on.
Well, I can't accommodate that.
Right.
Mr. Minto, still not seeing a physical action plan from you. Is it weak? Not so sure about it? Or it offers nothing far as unique as financial intelligence offered by Mr. Richards?
No, I'm just I plan to release it actually tonight after the debates. I plan to release it. It's a series of other things. But let me just take the time on my life to say, Mr. Lennon offers financial intelligence, but I
And
have
blockchain
an idea.
technology.
I have an idea and a plan to have students turn merits. This was a plan from the administration, but I'm going to ensure the first thing I'm going to do as a president is, Mr. Treasurer, we need to put this back in place where students can trade merits for cash. So imagine you've been a good student under the Sweebies program and you got some money at the canteen, or you can cash it in possibly. So you can go to the you can be a nice person for a week, and the next week you're getting a box food and a crown water just because you're a nice person. So my plan, one of what that idea gives the students opportunities to turn merits into almost money. What Lennon promises is financial intelligence and how to trade. How long does it take to learn to trade, Mr. Richards? We didn't hear that from you. How
Years,
long does it take? It takes years.
years. I've
So
been learning about. I've been doing well. Let me tell. I started learning in ninth grade, right? And I just developed myself from ninth grade come up.
So it isn't so practical to do that within 1 year of a student's count. So you have to set a foundation first. So that is why I'm saying the main agenda of the president cannot be something of that sort. We have to put that at a club level and ensure that it is built up, Mr. Richards. Because if it takes years, we won't get anything from you as president.
Well, I have come up with a plan for students to be able to learn it within a couple, a couple hours because there's this mini course that students will be getting to be able to know what trading is about, to understand the strategies to use. So what I did from ninth grade was basically I was learning on my own, which I had the disadvantage. So but there are other persons out there who provides this type of education like A76 Trading Academy. So I'm going to
So
use them,
you're
their
gonna
mini
take
course
you're
to
gonna
teach
take
students.
you're going to take years and put it in the hours, Mr. Richard. That is what you promise. You shouldn't be
Of
running for
course,
coach,
it's
man.
not impossible, It's not
You
impossible
shouldn't be
because that's
running
what I
for
learned in
coach. You
years.
should be running for prime minister.
I'm doing it soon, soon, soon.
But I don't think that would be practical or sustainable, because why am I going to learn something that usually takes at least a year for a normal person to learn in 2 hours? That isn't practical. That is just a one-way thing.
Because
I
of
don't think that is sustainable.
the strategy that I'm using, right? The strategy that I use, as I said, I was learning on my own and I had to develop it, right? So once I've developed my strategy properly, I am now able to use it, right? And if I should explain it to other persons using a mini course from 876 Trading Academy, of course, students are going to be able to learn it
So,
in just a couple
so
hours,
Lennon,
you
so
know?
Lennon, if you lose, which you probably will you still help the students of your class?
Well, it depends on if I'm coming back.
So it's presidency that dictate those things for you.
Well,
Interesting.
it's just that I have other things that I want to get done, and so it's just a choice of me just being, if me of me losing out on certain opportunities or me taking certain opportunities. So basically, it's just my life on the line right here.
It's your life on the line. So that means that
Yeah.
something you get something, man. Some personal gain is there, Mr. Richards.
All right. Thank
There's,
you
Your
so
there's, there-
much.
position.
there's, there's not no
Mr.
personal gain.
Come on, Mr.
It's
Moderator.
students
Please
gain.
allow this part. No, man, some personal gain is there, because you say you're
There's no
taking
personal gain.
chances, Mr. We can't take chances with the students of your castle.
No. It's not chances for students. It's chances with me because,
With
as I
you.
said, I have plans that I want to initiate, and if I don't go first with them in September, they would have to be pushed back where a lot of progress won't be made on my side and my businesses. So
Oh,
if I become
your
president,
side. Your
yes,
side, your businesses.
but
Okay.
it is not a personal gain on this. It would not be personal gain. It would just be me losing out and making progress. So I'm just here to try to help students within a specific time frame of where I will be available to them, to develop and leave a legacy behind for students.
Okay.
All
Too bad
right.
I'm not looking to leave a legacy. Too bad. I'm looking to work for the students. That is where I put my bet, you know. So it's no
Close.
personal gain for me.
And I give you the opportunity to close this cross rebuttal, Mr. Richards.
Well, as I said before, what I am doing is not for a personal gain, but for a student gain and development, So I'm not here trying to make money off of students because that's what many students might have thought.
Don't
I'm
like
not
a
here to
chance to
do that.
convince yourself, though, sir.
So Minto, out of
Oh,
order.
no, no. No, 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 no. Right? I'm here to help students. And with my money intelligence behaviors, students can learn it and develop themselves, which is what I am here for. And also using blockchain technology as pandemic proof system to help the school.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your castle great versus. It's a nice slogan, So we have to valuably competent Yorkists is the new advocacy. We are here in the part one of a two-part series debate for the presidential candidates. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we will be hearing from the questions from the ancillary staff. They have one question for both candidates and also from someone from the administrative team. And after that, we will go straight into the section where candidates get the opportunity to ask one another questions. Indeed, this is a debate. We'll be right back with some music now. Indeed, here we are. Indeed, here we are. A race against time, a race against creativity, a race against expressions. We have one person saying they're going to keep your castle great. We have another one saying valuable, competent Yorkists is the new advocacy. We do not own the rights to the instrumental used. All credits go to TVJ All Angles. We are here this evening with Dontae P. Minto and Lennon R. Richards, vying for the top posts, front runners in this presidential election 2021-2022 that will be concluded next week, Wednesday. And the students will have the final say. This debate is to help you clarify your position. Since evening, we have been discussing social issues. We've been hearing from the candidates. We've been having cross rebuttals. And can I tell you, it is indeed interesting. This is the B broadcast brought to you by the B Broadcasting Commission, sponsored by the Students' Council. All my questions are out, and now we hear from the ancillary staff. Yes, we have a question from the ancillary staff directed to both candidates here this evening. What will you do to promote anti-littering and loitering during class time? Will you recommend detention or disciplinary actions? Mr. Richards, over to you. Your mic is mute. Your mic is mute, and you look like you're getting into it. Oh my, we're missing that.
Okay, so my proposition on that, would be to, of course, implement disciplinary actions, but I don't want the disciplinary actions to be able to remind students that, hey, you should not be littering, right? So by doing that, implementing these actions, to ensure students does not litter, but also improving on the garbage system in the school, we need to put more garbages in places for students to litter, for students to throw away and litter, right? So students need to have more garbages around the place and a type of disciplinary action to ensure that they remember not to litter. So that's my proposition.
Thank you, Mr. Richards. Mr. Minto.
Yeah, I believe that disciplinary action should be taken for those who litter. But how practical is it though? We have to have eyes everywhere, which we don't. So I think it is we should enforce the Miss Garner did the neat and clean competition, and I think that went well, especially in law school, because I remember classes competing to do that. So we have to somehow, promote the neat and clean competition, big it up so persons actually feel the importance, or something like that. Because we don't know who threw that there. You can't know that. So we have to kind of encourage students, have some plan or some campaign plan or something to do that, because littering is disgusting, it's nasty, and it's unbecoming of true Yorkies.
I hear your question from the administrative staff. Very quickly, I think we know who this one is. What is your position on library access during class? Indeed, that is a spicy question. Mr. Richards, go ahead with your response.
Library access for a student?
During class time. During class time was the specifics of the question.
Oh, okay. Well, if students needs to get a specific equipment or resource, I believe that students should know that they should be prepared for a class at all times. So I will at least send out a group of persons to go around to classes and check on students to ensure that if they have the correct equipment to start classes, and if they need to get any, we just order them to go down and get whatever equipment they need to get. But if the student was unfortunate to get it at that time, I think that students should be allowed the library access to get the equipment.
I hear you. Mr. Minto?
Yeah, I agree. Students should be able to buy things, but we should allow our students to buy things, but on a strict basis. So maybe 1 minute alone, maybe we grant them a minute, or they just can't be in there too long. The librarian has to enforce that they can't be in there too long. It's class time, or you can't loiter during class time. I think that should be the policy. But if a student wants to buy a pen, wants to copy something, or something, you can't, as you get right after your service, whatever service you come for, right as that is delivered, that has been delivered, you must leave the library and hit the class.
Some time ago, there was a debate surrounding whether or not the librarians should be empowered to ban students from the library. And, the opportunity to take pictures of students and post it up to say banned from the library. Mr. Minto, what's your position on that?
No, I don't think students should be banned from the library. I think you can't have a ban, an indefinite ban. Maybe if it is maybe a week or a day or two, but we should not be giving out indefinite or even a year bans that extend to a year. We can't have that. We must have, maybe if it's a day or 2 days or a week, we can't ban students, because the library is for useful things. People use the library for useful things, and maybe sometimes it could be a wrong situation. So or even the dean should be allowed to try that too, because maybe the librarian's judgment was wrong. I don't know. I'm not blaming her or anything, but maybe the dean or somebody should oversee that. But we can't ban students indefinitely from the library.
I hear you. Mr. Richards, your position on that?
Well, I don't no rebuttal.
All right, no problem. And finally, in this segment, question from the Parents Teachers Association. Yes, they want to ask you, presidential candidates, a question too. They want to know your views on students being banned from sporting events, sporting activities, or extracurricular participation due to disciplinary issues. So we would have seen in the past where if you're a member of the track and field team and you had some disciplinary issue, you're banned from going to track meet, or if you are a member of one of those dance groups for I Stedford and your indisciplinary issues, you're banned from doing that. What's your position on that? What are your views on that? And let's see if we can get that in 30 seconds, Mr. Minto, then Mr. Richards.
Yeah, I believe students should be banned because of some things. When they do some things, we have to maintain order, we have to maintain discipline. Not because you're the top track man in Jamaica, it doesn't mean that we are Yorkers. We are the top school in Yorkers, and we're bigger than you. You're never bigger than Yorkers, and we have to show them that. Even big teams at times, I see ban players when they do something wrong. So we have to enforce that. And right, I believe students should be banned when they do something wrong like that.
Mr. Richards,
No rebuttal.
you agree?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, we're at section 3. In this section, the candidates will be afforded the opportunity to ask one other questions. Candidates, please remember, this is not a Donald Trump and Joe Biden type of debate. Just keep it calm, keep it respectful. You're allowed to ask a candidate a question, your opponent a question, or the opponent will also get the 45 seconds or whatever the time allotment is to respond. You can rebut. So we don't have too much cross rebuttals going on based on the coin toss earlier. Mr. Minto would go first.
Could I just be clear on the time for rebuttal?
What's the time for rebuttal? My director Campbell, what is the time again for rebuttal? I think it's a minute. I think it's a minute for rebuttal and 2 minutes to respond maximum. Want to cut that down to 1 minute 13 inches of time. So I want to keep you between the same 90 second, 40 second, if that's okay with you candidates. All right, so Mr. Minto, your question to Mr. Richards, 1 to 5 maximum. Let's go.
Right. So Lennon, you often say in your ads and your campaign that school don't teach people to be workers. But the truth is, no, school don't teach people to be owners. But the truth is that, Lennon, not everyone will be an owner. Not everyone strives to be an owner. So is it that you don't value workers? Is it that you don't value workers? I see the other day you told a student to move with them $20 mindset. Is it that you don't value those students?
Well, no. It's just that, I'm just giving them that tough love because I am not a soft person, right? And I'm assertive for sure. And so because of that, I'm not trying to devalue anyone. It's just that how my mindset is and what my goals are that allows me to be like that, so I'm not devaluing anyone.
But as a president, Lennon, I believe we must listen to everybody. So not because my goals don't align with yours, I will listen to you. You can't tell a student to move with them $20 mindset. He better say, come and let me try to show you why I have a $1,000 mindset. You can't say move. We have to value everybody. We can't leave out students. We can't do that. That is why
I understand what you're saying.
We are presidents for the majority. We include everyone.
I understand what you're saying, Mr. Minto, but that was me using my assertive tone right there, where I could have been more gentle and accommodative there in answering. So I would just like to say that I was just using my assertive tone in answering to that message, and so I wasn't trying to devalue anyone. Okay, I was just using my assertive tone.
Right, because we can't care about one thing as a president. We just want to enter. We can't care about one thing. We have to care about everything because even that student that is not that isn't interested in financial literacy, we can't not care about them, right, Lennon? You know, I was just pointing that out to you. You're Mr. Moderator, back to you.
Yeah, I'm the moderator here. Thank you so much. Mr. Richards, your question to Mr. Minto. Your first question to Mr. Minto.
My first question is that why should students even trust what you're saying right now?
Why should students trust what I'm saying? Because I love you, students. I wake up in the morning and I think about you. I work for the students. I've done it for 2 years. Why would I stop? Why would I stop? You've never seen seasonal enthusiasm from Dontae. Dontae loves the student of your class. Many persons ask, Dontae, why aren't you running for NSSC positions? But I don't have any time for that. I work for you, the students of your castle. And I love you wholeheartedly.
Okay, good.
Your rebuttal, Mr. Richards.
Well, I don't have a rebuttal right there.
Fair enough. You don't have any time for NSSC? Didn't get that part there, Mr. Minto, not getting that clearly.
I don't have time for them, but I just prefer to work at your castle instead. I can't sell out your castle. Your castle no sell out in Elena. Yeah, you know that. Your castle don't sell out.
Okay, but as a president, there wouldn't be any strangled relations.
Oh no. It's
Okay,
just not for me. It's just
Right.
not for me. I prefer your castle.
Okay. Mr. Minto, your second question to Mr. Richards, if any.
So Lennon, we have to be honest with the students, Lennon. We have to be honest with the students. And we see, you show off some leadership skills and you say, you had a business. But come, be honest with the students. You had a marketing promo, something. Forgive me, I'm not really sure of the name. But how successful is that? How active is that? Because I looked at the post on the Instagram, and the last post was from January 4. It don't look like we are getting things to market. What happened? Let's be honest with the students.
Well, to be honest, my business, it does not only rely on marketing for income. I am financially intelligent where I know how to use assets, and generate automatic revenue. So I use different assets, right? Either paper assets, or just paper assets or commodities, like cryptocurrencies. I would use that to generate revenue to where, that's where most of the business gets its revenue from its assets that it has, not only the service that it provides. So by being smart like that, I don't need to only rely on trying to market persons. So having more than one stream of income is important for a company.
Right. So in a sense, you're saying that your business is successful.
Well, I'm not going to say I'm successful because I haven't carried out much plan as I wanted to, because as I was saying before, I'm going to be basically taking a risk when I release my trade secrets to students, right? And so that would just mean slower progress for me. So I'm here taking a risk.
Okay, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. And that was your rebuttal. Mr. Richards, your second question to Mr. Minto, even.
Well, my second question was that based on secondary data in the campaign, Mr. Minto, right? It is saying that you're a fake president and have the characteristics of spreading rumors. And one of my supporters came to me and said, how would that benefit the council?
How would that benefit the council? So you are alleging that I am a fake and I spread rumors, and how would that benefit the council?
Well, that was just a question from one of my supporters. So
okay, I thought the question was from you. I don't know, Mr. Supporter. I don't know. I am not a fake. I don't spread rumors. I just do my thing and I operate. I don't spread rumors. I don't know what that person is talking about. What rumor do you know? What rumor you say I spread?
Well, the supporter that showed me a video, it was saying that you're spreading rumors on me telling students I'm going to it's a scam about my financial intelligence proposal and other stuff, you
Okay.
know. So
Okay. It wasn't a rumor, this is what I believe, but you throw me down, you say it's not a scam, and I step back because you're true. You know? Yeah, and right. You know, it wasn't a rumor, it was just an allegation and you dealt with it. It isn't a rumor, Lennon. I remember I'm not the only one here.
well,
Me alone can't spread rumors. If people realize that, you know, it is looking that way, it is going to spread. So it's just public opinion. Just public opinion. And I'm a public worker, I
I,
work for them.
I understand this. So my supporter who asked me that question, you got your answer.
Right, supporter.
All right. Your third question to Mr. Richards, if any, Mr. Minto.
Yeah, man. Lennon,
Yes.
the students need truth. The students need truth. This is what we're here for. You know, in September, we started a couple classes, sociology, Carib, think on chapter. You do on chapter, right?
Oh no, I don't the carry.
You don't do Carib again?
No, I
Okay,
did not do carry. I do com studies.
okay, but we're in at least two classes, right, Lennon? We're
Yes,
in two classes.
sociology and entrep.
But it's been a while since I've seen him. It's been a while since I've seen him, Mr. Richards. Tell me, what's up, man? Is that a commitment issue? Because I see every day on the campaign, you know, but I haven't seen him in class for ages.
Well, you know, I go to classes, you know, but the thing is that I'm caught up in the days mostly where I have stuff to do, you know,
Oh,
and
Forex. Yeah, I
most
am.
times I go to class on an appropriate time schedule. So, you know, I'm just appropriately going to classes.
Okay. We're not treat the office of the president like that if you get, you know, Mr. Richard. We have to have that first. It should be our first business. But if you
Classes
say
and
so,
presidency are two different things, you know.
okay.
So
Oh,
there's just sort of um more doing and carrying out of activities, you know. So those are two different classes that
right,
cannot be compared together right now.
right, right. All right, Mr. Lennon.
Yes.
Okay. Was an interesting cross rebuttal. Mr. Richards, your third question for Mr. Minto. He just called you out on missing classes, like you don't want to attend your classes. What do you have to say? Talk is basically saying you can't appropriately address the office of the president. That's a big blow. Mr. Richards, how do you respond to that?
Well, you know,
With your next question at that. Sure.
well, I can give my question first, and because I don't
Sure.
want to answer that, you know. All right.
All right, no problem. Give
Yeah.
your question.
So, Mr. Minto, my question to you is: are you trying to help the school and students in a way that fixes problems of future pandemic?
Of future pandemic, if of
Of
future
course.
pandemics. Oh, okay. Yes, because as a president, I will ensure that Mr. Lennon Richards is the president of the Financial Intelligence Club. And I will push that club and I'll ensure that students are fitted with the right thing because it is important, you know, Lenny, but it is an important aspect. It isn't important entirely for the counts, but it is an important aspect. And I'll ensure, Mr. Richards, that I say it live, that as a president, the first club I'll ever sign off on is Lennon's club because it is a
That
good
sounds
idea, but
great.
it's for like repeat. That sounds
That
great,
sounds great. Yes, but
right?
you know, Dante, what about
So,
other happenings? What about students? What about the CXC fees that needs to be paid to school, or the lunch issues, you know, or fees that need to be paid to school, right? How about fees that need to be paid to school from home? Are you trying to put in a system to be able to do
okay,
that? You know?
okay. As I said, Mister, we have to encourage. You know, a lot of our students aren't financially literate, as I said, meaning to the worst level. So some students don't even have a credit card or anything like that. So we'll first have to go there. We have to ensure that students can do those online paying and all of those stuff. But I'll ensure that as a president, it is a part of my agenda to, you know, help your club spread a message because it is indeed a message to be heard, Mr. Richards.
Any further rebuttal, Mr. Richards?
Well, just by spreading my club alone won't help, because if students are at home and need to transfer, for example, CXC fees, CAPE fees, students should be able to do it from the comfort of their homes. And so that's why, I'm coming with a system where students are able to use blockchain technology, use cryptocurrencies to send money to the school, right? Using stable coins as the cryptocurrency that it does not appreciate or depreciate in value, So by doing that, students are able to stay at the comfort of their home and make transactions online.
How practical is that, though, Lennon? How practical? How many students we have actually are interested? How many parents do we have that trust their students to handle transactions like that, to handle money like that? We have to question the practicality. I like the idea, but it is really something for those who are interested. It's something for those
Well,
who are interested. Why I
you
maintain
mentioned
my
how
stance that
practical
is
it is. Well, when you mention about the practicality, it is 100% practical and legit because I was planning on creating crypto wallets for students, right? And when I create crypto wallets for a students would have deposit and withdraw through the council, right? And the council would be able to disperse cryptocurrencies into the students' crypto wallet, and students will be at their homes and they will be able to make transactions online.
that sounds I was exhausted, Lennon. Mr. Moderator, to you.
Very good. Very good. Quite an exchange we have going on there. Your fourth question?
Mine. Right.
My question? Oh, yours? All right.
Yeah, because you just asked your third, he asked his third. So, right, your fourth question, Mr. Minto. Right, that kind of got off track here.
Then, just like how you had a question from your support, I have one from my support. I hate to ask this. It's the truth because we're friends, and our friendship is bigger than this. Understand that, but it is known, Lennon, that you had a little addiction going there. You had a little addiction going on, some little THC foolishness. Could you assure the students of your class that you aren't an addict and you have dealt with your smoking issue and you're past that?
Well, students don't have proof that I did that to where, those are just allegations made by persons. And the fact is, everyone tried to do that. Well, let me not say everyone, but most students, they tried in doing stuff like that. And it's just a decision on where, if I choose to do it or not. But I'm not going to do it like that, So I just want to ensure persons to understand that I am not abusing any type of drug or I am inducing it. So I am currently free from any type of intoxication as we speak.
Right, as we speak, and I hope that remains. The truth is just the truth. People want the truth, and we live in front of public opinion. We have to deal with it. So, person just want
I know,
the
man.
truth.
And so I had to just
Right.
clear up that truth, So.
Right.
And that would encapsulate
my questions are
rebuttal,
finished.
Mr. Minto. That would encapsulate your rebuttal, right?
Oh, yeah, man. Right.
Very good. Your fourth question, any fourth question from you, Mr. Richard?
Well, no, actually.
My
question that I would have asked,
yeah.
The question I would have asked, Dontae would have answered them because he's talking about developing students.
Right.
Well, so
right.
That's where
just for the record, you're out of questions now, Mr. Richards.
Yes, I'm finished.
Okay, very well. Mr. Minto, any final question? Well, you're almost at your max. Any final question from you, Mr. Minto?
One last question. One
Well,
last.
you only have one more question, so I
Right.
don't like
And
wasting.
Lennon, we just want truth. We just want truth again. You told us earlier that you aren't for yourself, and you actually care about the students, and you're not about uplifting your business and things like that. But we know, I like to consider myself as a financially correct person. We know that it's only 1%, 1% of persons on the earth or in a society or whatever actually are the super rich, or whatever, something like that. So when you are pushing that now, what happens to the other 99? What happens to the other 99% of persons? Because you're saying a cater for yourself, and there's just 1%. I believe there's really 1%. When I check it, is 1% of persons that really control the wealth. And you say you claim to represent those persons, right? Or you're
Well,
trying to get there
I'm
or something. What
knowledgeable
happened to
about
the other
guests there.
99?
What about the other 99?
You're
Well,
trying to bring.
Dontae, like you mentioned this earlier, to where you say persons, they have a choice to either want to be a part of that 1% or want to stay stuck in that 99%, right? So the 99% is just depending on whether they want to actually have ambition, have goals, have bigger dreams to achieve more, So it's just depending on whether 99% thinks, has thinks and do stuff in a certain way, right? There's a thinking substance that man can think about and use to permeate anything into the universe, right? And so with that, if 99% thinks like that, they will be a part of the 1%. But through proper guidance and them coming out of their comfort zone to push for more, to learn for more, because nobody's going to come and spoon feed anyone. I wasn't spoon fed, right? And so it just
Right.
comes to a decision of coming out of the comfort zone and going for more.
All right, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough.
Fair enough. We have heard a lot here this evening. Let me just remind the listening public that this is not the leadership debate. So for those concerned about not hearing questions about manifesto and student governance and administration, we hear all of that. And we direct those questions to Monday when we will have the leadership debate. Some of the questions from the media would have been geared towards leadership, and so our team would have to pick and choose those that would fit into a social debate atmosphere to be asked. And that's exactly what we focused on here this evening. Just for the record, no more questions from either candidates. Everyone is satisfied with their questions and answering. That's clear. That's for sure. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a final question here, breaking the protocol a bit. This is a very high member of the academic staff, so I must ask to both individuals, what is your negotiating philosophy? That ought to be a nice one to take us into the break. Mr. Minto, your negotiating philosophy. Go right ahead.
Well, never really thought about that, but I will ensure that when I'm negotiating in council with the school, I will ensure that the students are first on both ends, because as the administration and as the council, we work for the students. They are our majority and they are who we cater for. So I will definitely ensure that that at the end result of any type of negotiating, the students will benefit more than anyone else.
Very well, Mr. Richards, your negotiating philosophy. This ought to be. Let's go.
Okay, well, my negotiation philosophy would be to label the emotions, find out the underlying emotions to put a label to it, and present it a way to get a good response where I position persons in a way to think how I want them to, So by using the 38, 7, and 55% rule, right, I'm able to use that and make suggestions to counterparties to come to good solutions, for students. And with that, that would entail how I would do my negotiating.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been quite the evening. They say this is the easy debate because it is a social debate. Things get hard when we actually begin the leadership debate. Ladies and gentlemen, with me is Lennon Richards, Lennon R. Richards, who promises to bring to light the fact that valuable competency is the new advocacy, and two-time Council Senator Dontae P. Minto, who has been running on experience and says he plans to keep your castle great. We're going into the final segment of this very long, very heated, very interested debate in this presidential race against time, expression, and opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your moderator, Bobby Francis. This is the B Broadcast, brought to you by the B Broadcasting Commission, sponsored by the Students' Council. You're in your social debates, part one of a two-part series in presidential debates. We'll be right back for the end. Music man. Wow. If you just joined us, I don't know what to say to you, because you have missed, the bulk of part one in a two-part series debate for presidential candidates, what we call the social debate. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been your moderator dealing with these very two heated candidates this evening, Bobby Francis. This is the B Broadcast, brought to you by the B Broadcasting Commission, sponsored by the Students' Council of Lokasa High School. Debates are very important because it helps to clarify who voters will vote for. And I heard Paul Jones say it in the sixth form presidential race. York High School has critical thinkers and they vote critical, and this helps to inform your vote. We've heard a lot from Lennon R. Richards promising valuable competency as the new advocacy, and Dontae P. Minto promising to keep York Castle great. A lot of differences of opinion, and interestingly, quite a lot of similarities too. We hear they're very good friends, and we want to hear about the status of the friendship. How's the friendship going on? Are you guys still friends with our brethren? Are you guys getting personal a few moments ago, clothed with we just want the truth? Let's find out what's really happening. How's the friendship?
Well, me and Dante, we're cool, There are no personal feelings involved in this for all we know because we are strong men, strong leaders, So yeah,
And I
we're
hear
good
people
friends.
say you took the loser Lenny to heart.
Well, as I said before, if I heard the word loser, I I would think differently because I'm a winner. I don't lose. I only learn, right? So I'm just
Fair
like
enough.
that. I'm a learner,
Fair
not a
enough.
loser.
Fair enough. And you guys have supporters talking to me to have supporters here saying Dante was not only a fake president, but a fake senator. Or if you hear things like that and don't get feelings, Mr. Minto.
Oh, that's all right. That's a part of the campaign, man. That's a part of it. It's politics, I tell you a lot of times, Lennon and I are in our private chats, laughing away from what is happening, because it's just politics, and we have an understanding that we both want the seats, we both acknowledge that we're good contenders, and we said, "Let best man win." But our friendship
Right
is
before
bigger.
you go into your closing remarks, I want both of you to appeal to the electorate to keep it calm, to move in unity, because just the other day, I saw some very, very heated, disheartening, and very sad exchange happening in the sixth form guidance group where members got really heated. There were factions here, tackling one person, tackling another person, simply out of a court of public opinion. And we really don't want to promote that type of election, that PMP, JLP type of violence. We don't want that here. And so I want to give you 20 seconds each to appeal to your electorate to keep it calm, keep it easy, keep it messy, but remember that we're just in it for the students. Go ahead, Mr. Minto.
Well, guys, what Mr. Francis said. Just keep it classy. Don't get personal. Don't pay them too much mind. Sometimes I understand their opinion is not really so. It's not like yours, but we have to take it easy. We can't kill them. We can't kill them. We have to take our time. So don't take it personal. It's nothing
Your time
personal.
is up. Thank you so much, Mr. Richards. Your appeal to your electorate.
Well, I want to say to everyone, just keep it cool.
All right. I tell you, he would be the cool kid if you ask me. But all right, we go right into your closing remarks. This is the final segment of the debate. So sad to say goodbye to YouTube, but we have to do it. 2 minutes. Closing remarks. We had an independent coin toss earlier. For some reason, Lennon Richards chose heads, and for some reason, Dontae Minto chose tails. And as a result, tails was selected, and Mr. Minto would go first in closing remarks, and Mr. Richards would wrap up this evening's debate. In 2 minutes, Mr. Minto, your closing remarks for part one in a two-part series of debate for the president. Go ahead.
Well, guys, you have seen the debates, you have seen the arguments, and the choice is yours. It's Dontae Minto or Lennon Richards. I think you guys will manage to make the right choice. I have a plan for you guys. I don't have a plan for myself. I love the students of your class and I'm willing to work for them. Nobody can stop that. That is my main agenda. That is my main objective. And with every strand of hair on my body, I will work for the students of your class. Each and every one of you, those who love me, those who hate me, I will be your president, the president of your Castle High School Students' Cause. So vote Dontae, make the right choice. Vote Dontae. Don't only vote Dontae. I'll take the opportunity to say, vote Team Minto. They're very good persons, and I would love. It would be good. They are the persons you deserve your castle. They are the team you deserve. Thank you.
All right, that is it. And Mr. Minto has closed his portion to this evening's debate. Mr. Richards, the ball is in your court.
Well, thank you all for letting me be here. And I just want students to remember Lennon Richards, right? Vote Lennon Richards because I'm the man providing student development clubs, pandemic-proof payment systems for the school, and their representation skills where I'm able to defend and advocate for students. So vote Lennon Richards.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. You know what I'm missing from this election? A lot of dubs. I'm not hearing a lot of dubs. Nobody getting through to Shensia. Well, you know, we have our own local artist. Wallace Shakespeare, you know, is a famous YouTuber going on the rise. We can get her to endorse. So let's see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Bobby Francis, your host for this part one in a two-part series presidential debate. So excited to bring the leadership debate to you on Monday. You're going to be seeing the other interviews, the other debates as the week goes on. And remember to vote wisely next week, Wednesday, the 28th of April. This was an amazing evening. We have Keep York Great from the Minto camp, and Valuable Competent Yorkists is the new advocacy. So let's see how it goes. Only the polls can bring light to this. It's been a pleasure being here this evening. We don't own the rights to the instrumental use. All credits go to TVJ, all angles. Thank you so much for being lovely audiences all over the place. Congrats to the B broadcast for having this once again. You did it to SFA, you're doing it again. And thank you, students, also for your support. Support us, everybody. Good night.